Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another dynamic episode of the Man Behind Ministry podcast. Of course, I'm your host, Minister Ryan Smith of the Virgin Street Church. By now, you should already know what to do. Go ahead and like this. Go ahead and subscribe to the page so that way, whenever we release content, as always, you'll be the first one to get it. We have, as always, another dynamic guest coming our way. Really going to be a blessing to us. He's I wouldn't even say he's like family. He is family. He grew up as thick as thieves with my father, and so I'm just glad that that relationship has transitioned to me. You know him very very well. Um, None other than Minister AC Chrisman of the Oklahoma City area, dynamic member of the Northeast congregation, right down 44 in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. I'm so excited about, again, the knowledge and insight that he's going to provide to us. I can't wait to get into it. In fact, we're not even going to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and jump into it. Minister AC, how you doing, man?
I'm doing good. Finally getting the opportunity to wind down.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Totally understand, man.
Absolutely.
I know how it is, man. So much things that we have to get to, and so I'm just thankful, and I know all who will be viewing this either live or even on the replay, man. I know they're going to be blessed and enriched by what you're going to offer to us tonight, man. So again, I appreciate you personally.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on.
Definitely, definitely, man. Again, I know we both got schedules and lives, man. You ready to get into this?
Oh man, let's go.
Awesome, man.
Let's
Awesome,
do it.
awesome. Man, one of the things I love, man, as I've grown and matured in life, especially in ministry, as you kind of get older and mature and you kind of get to know people, man, I've learned that your last name in the brotherhood and especially in the fraternity of ministry, man, it holds a lot of weight. As a kid, I didn't know, but now I see, man, that last name, Chrisman, it holds some weight, man. So just tell us, how was it growing up in the household of the late and great brother Chrisman?
Oh, it was very interesting what you just said. Growing up as a child, I mean, I didn't see the magnitude of it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you just trying to live life as a child and in the home with your parents, your
Yeah.
brothers, sisters, and just having a good time. My dad was intricately involved in our lives on a day-to-day basis. That's what was interesting.
Yeah.
Uh, and I didn't realize the magnitude of it, Ryan, until I went to college at Southwestern.
Wow.
And then it hit me. And it was then that I realized how prominent he was, how well known he was throughout this brotherhood, and it his relationship and mine took on a whole nother approach at that point. It really did.
So once you realized kind of who he was, I know for you, that's just dad, you know. But
Right, right.
once you realized who he was, and I'm sure you then probably kind of just dove in. Okay, man, tell me all that you know. You know, share with me the tricks of the trade in ministry. What were some of the things that he shared with you?
Well, it was interesting that what he did with us when I come of age. You know, my first sermon was at Pure and Young Church of
Okay.
Christ. That was my first year at college, and my dad gave me an opportunity to preach. Though
Hmm.
coming up as a child there, we had what was called boys training class,
Okay.
and in those classes, we learned how to pray, sing, read scripture, communion, but then everybody had to bring a 3 minute sermonette on
Hmm.
Wednesday night. And so he taught us the homiletics of preaching.
Okay.
And it was like, y'all need to be prepared, whether you
Hmm.
become a preacher or not. If you need to stand in,
There you go.
then at least I want you to know how to present a message, how to not so much a sermon, because everybody wasn't going to be a preacher, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so that part of my training, and then primarily it was observation.
Yeah.
We sat and watched, and of course he had the boys training class, so there was a process of learning and development that went along with that.
Definitely. Love it, man.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. And you hit the nail right on the head. It's one thing for a father or a father figure, a mentor to kind of tell you, but it's another thing to show you. So, and that's still paying off dividends to work. You have a great role model that not only showed you and taught you, but he also showed and taught you by how he lived. So you were able, even if he wasn't
Right.
speaking, you were able to look at him and follow that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And he would throw you in the game. Now you have to
Mhm. Mhm.
you talk to your dad. I mean, he said, when y'all come on up here and sing, you need to go and pray or
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
But that that training process helped that. You
Mhm.
never knew when you'd be called on to do something.
Right.
And so he put you in the game without reservation. He really loved young people. That was a huge part of his ministry. We had one of the largest youth groups in the nation,
Yeah.
actually, coming up there at North Peoria Church.
Okay. Nice.
So,
He sounds
yeah.
like, hearing you describe him, he sounds a lot like my great grandfather, Brother Eyes Vincent did. He
Oh,
had
man.
he had a one of his rules was, hey, you need to stay ready. Always have something in your back pocket because, like you said, you just never know when it's gonna be your turn.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
yeah,
Totally
yeah,
agree.
awesome, awesome. And man, you are double blessed, man, because not only were you did you grow up in the house of a dynamic preacher. I know because I look at you as uncle, and so I know you were also mentored by the late great uh, um, brother Crenshaw, brother Arnelius
Yeah.
Crenshaw, and so
That,
if you didn't get it from your father, you got it from brother Crenshaw, man. So God rest his soul. Share with us what were some of the things you gleaned from him as well.
let me kind of lead you into this if I can.
Hmm.
What's interesting is that Cornelius Crenshaw was my dad's mentee.
Wow.
Uh, my dad mentored him
Hmm.
in the gospel.
Okay.
Lacey B. Mack, who was the preacher there before my dad, was, I believe, Cornelius's father in the gospel. That's where he got his start and opportunity, and with great influence from his mother, who was his primary teacher.
Hmm.
But my dad took Cornelius at the age of 15 and began to mentor him and shape him in the word. And that was his introduction to preaching. And so Cornelius and myself, he was an only child, but it was three of us, three boys in my family. We grew up like brothers,
Right.
uh, not knowing he was going to excel at that time. Because, like you said, we went to watch him play football when he was at Booker T. Washington, and
Right.
we was like brothers. And so, but very spiritual, spiritually engaged during our time there as young people. And then, not knowing years later that I would be under his tutorial, his mentorship, and it was I see it as an extension of my dad. My dad was my first and best teacher. Arnelius was an extension of that and took it to another level, especially where expository preaching and teaching was involved. And he added the element of that along with friendship. I mean, he took the same character as those men during my dad's period, I.S. Vincent, where they just took young men under their arms and really brought them in close to them. So, and he did that with me back in 1997 when he asked me to come to Oklahoma City. I rejected him for 2 years. And I was just like, man, I don't want to come to Oklahoma City. Yeah. But in short, and I'll move on, what got me, he had a great vision for ministry.
Definitely.
And that I prayed over it. We prayed over it. Matter of fact, he said, let's pray about it first. And I was back and forth from 97 to 99. 99, I was here permanently. Okay. And I'm still here until his passing.
Gotcha. That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
And,
but I learned great things. You asked me what I learned from him.
Yeah.
I learned to really handle the text better. You know, I had a whole lot of me in me when I got here. I wasn't young like you, so I you know how that goes. You come with a shaping, and it's difficult. Yeah. Now let me just say, it is difficult when you've been doing one thing in that craft for some period of time, and then someone else say, I need you to look at it differently. It's hard to do, and then the relationship, like brother and all of that, gets in the mix. But very convincingly, I saw a great path to teaching and preaching and church administration. And he was a great administrator with the church. And so you learn now the full package of how to minister to a church and do it effectively. His word was always, whatever you're going to do it with excellence. And he believed in that. And I believed in it as well.
It definitely showed. It definitely showed with him. And obviously, he blessed a lot of ministers that came through the congregation. Also, the students that came through the ministry, man. Of course, with the dynamic caliber speaker that he was and just man that he was, we know he crossed a lot of paths and blessed a lot of people, man. So,
yes, indeed, indeed. That I'm thankful for the opportunity. Trust me.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Definitely. When you obviously you grew up under your father, you got a double portion with coming under Brother Crenshaw, and it's no secret that ministry is very demanding. It requires a lot of commitment and a lot of sacrifices. With the high demands of ministry, you know, we're human. Yeah, we're ministers, but we are men. And so with the high demands of ministry, what are some things you do to kind of unwind? What are your hobbies? What kind of helps you de-stress?
Oh man, it's simple for me. You put a fishing rod in my hand, you put a rifle, a shotgun, something like that. I can get out in the field, and I love fish is my thing. My dad showed me how to wind down.
Okay.
That was his thing. You know, he hunted, he fished, played sports. I did that for some time here in Oklahoma City with the church basketball league. I played as long as I could. I played up to the age I was 50. And then one of those young cats stepped on my ankle, and that's the day I said, I'm done. I can't outleap them no more. I can't muscle them like I used to.
Right.
But man, every Monday, we took off, and I appreciate that for Brother Crenshaw allowing that, to at least be with your family or whatever.
Yeah.
Man, I'd head straight to the water. I'd get on the lake somewhere, and I could fish all day long. So, and that's always been a relief for me. I love to read. I would go and sit in the office sometime, and I would read. I have a really good library,
Okay.
and so reading is good. But sometimes reading became work, and I wanted to just chill,
Yeah.
And you have to do that. You really have to find whatever that niche is. Take some time to yourself. That was difficult for Brother Crenshaw. He was always on point. I used to grab him and take him fishing and stuff like that every now and then. But we would go to the lake and set the rod down and pick up a book to read, having something to do with church growth, church development, preaching, and he just that was his focus. But that was his relaxation.
Yeah.
Other than the time when he was with his family was his world, and so
Mm-hmm.
that was good for him.
Like that. Love
Yeah.
that, man. Love that. Um, you could be considered a baby boomer, but one of the
Yes.
beautiful things about you is if people follow you on social media, you have a great connection with younger ministers. Um, so man, to those who are coming up in ministry, myself, and I appreciate you. Like I said, you because of your relationship with my father, I see you as an uncle. An
Yes.
extension of my father. And so, what's some advice, man, you could give to those young ministers that are coming up? Obviously, you've got some great insight from your father, from Brother Crenshaw. What's some insight you could give to those ministers that are young, that are coming up, that are getting established in congregations?
Yeah. One thing, make sure you have a better than good relationship with your leadership, whether it's elders, deacons, leaders, staff. You want to have a good relationship with those people as far as the church work
Mm-hmm.
goes. If you have a wife, um, make sure your wife is engaged and of you. You want to do that as best you can, so that she's there. And the more she's involved, the less issues you have,
Right.
and sometimes we just have to learn that lesson. Some areas I was hard headed and, should have engaged her more, but then over time I did. Young men need to, you just asked, learn to relax, but do the work while it's day. Do everything you need to do to make that church, that congregation excel,
Mm-hmm.
which there again, the word excellence comes into play.
Yeah.
Don't just do something to do something. Don't be event driven, be purpose driven.
There you go.
And you'll satisfaction out of that, and so you listen to the people, but feed the people, care for the people,
Yeah.
but lead the people
Right.
in a way where they respect your leadership, and that they don't have a problem listening and following you.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's just some things I've learned, um, just over my whole ministry career,
Mm-hmm.
is be a people person. I know some guys isolate, but that's your congregation. How are you going to isolate from them? You can't do it. Um, but you need to have a circle
Yeah.
of other ministers, other church individuals. And when I mean that, I mean other people that are involved in the day-to-day grind of the body of Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Outside, you need to have other associates outside of your own congregation where you have a camaraderie, you have communication, you have some consistency of thought and fellowship with them. That benefits you because then you have somewhere to go when you don't get it, and it's not necessarily that you don't get it at home, but then it's an extension, I believe, of your peace of mind to have those guys outside of your congregation that you can always go to. Dad said nobody understands a preacher like a preacher.
There you go.
And I do believe that to be true. And so, have those guys, but build that relationship with your core leaders to where you all have a relationship that benefits what's going on there in your own congregation. And it needs to be authentic. If we can't be authentic, we got a problem.
Yeah. And one of the things I've learned in my stint in public ministry and leading a congregation, especially in today's time, people appreciate authenticity.
Yes.
And people, they may not be Bible scholars, but people know how to point out if a person is genuine or not.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
that's not a stretch. and you have to, you want to be authentic. People will trust you.
Surely.
When you're authentic with them, when you're genuine, honest, open. And that don't mean you just pour your life out to everybody, but then they see you.
Discernment.
Yeah, but they see that you can keep your word. You don't mind sharing those pieces of your life that will encourage them and matters to move them to a place where they have a sense of security, well-being, and belonging.
I like that, and I love how you said that you share a piece of you, because I've learned while you want to be authentic, you have to be transparent and understand. I've learned in ministry, sometimes the hard way, everybody can't handle the real you.
Right.
And so
absolutely.
And so while you don't show them all of you, because everybody can't handle that.
They can't.
Which is why we have this platform. We want people to know, like, hey, we're human. We have hobbies. We're normal people. We make mistakes. We have successes.
Right.
We have challenges like everybody else. And so, but it's something about the man of God. Yeah, we hear it all the time. Nobody's perfect. All fall short of the glory of God. But it's something about when the pastor falls short, faith shatters. You know how it goes, man.
It's almost unavoidable that there's this unsolicited expectation that comes with being the preacher, the minister, pastor.
Yeah.
And you try to live in a way where people accept you as being a person. I am just a person.
Yeah.
I hurt, I cry, I got family issues like you have. My children worry what out of me, just like yours do.
Yes, sir.
So we all have the same issues. It's just now the position is the challenge for the regular layman in the congregation, that lay person. They see you on something, and I don't want to extend this, but they see us, Ryan, in a whole nother light, which they see us at our best come Sunday or come Wednesday. That's when they see us in this highly spiritual disposition in their eyes. That's their perspective. Yep. And we show up and we want to be excellent and we want to do what we do at the highest level possible, but they get locked in on that. Right. And so their level of expectation now, so
elevated.
Yeah, so if you slip, then like, wait, I just saw you Sunday. Well, okay, now you see me today.
There you go. There you go.
It's and I'm the same guy.
Yeah.
I just changed hats.
There you go. Yeah. One of the things, man, you had mentioned is people, they see us at our peak. They see us Sunday. They see us Wednesday. Right. And ministry requires a lot of preparation. It requires God and His increase, but it also requires a lot of talent.
Yeah.
And outside of preaching, man, you're a talented singer. Kind of talk to us about singing, man, and just
Oh
how
my
you got into
goodness.
that.
I'm not the singer I used to be, but I thank God that I still have a few chords left.
You have love, huh?
And my dad was a singer.
Hmm.
Um, he was the assistant choir director at Southwestern when he was a student there.
Wow. Okay.
What's interesting under A. Hugh Graham?
Mm.
What's interesting? I became the assistant choral director when I was there,
Wow. You just
and
follow
under
suit.
under Sylvia Rose,
Yeah.
and so it just happened that way. But when we were young, Dad had us just like your family, the Smith family,
Hmm.
singing as a family.
Yeah.
And so when we came up, we sang as a family. He
Yeah.
taught music to us, taught the congregation. What's crazy, he taught our congregation or the choir, the chorus choir, sheet music.
Mm.
And so we learned from reading sheet music.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I learned, that's how I learned. And I first started singing, I know when I was 3 years old in Lubbock, Texas. That's where I was born.
Hmm.
And I was just getting in the aisles whenever he'd get up, and I'd just stand in the middle of the aisle and sing. And eventually, over time, developed it. He turned the choir, the chorus at North Peoria over to me when I was, 16 years old, because he
Hmm.
had been directing the chorus all that time.
Okay.
And eventually gave it to me. And I'm like, man, what are you doing? I'm just a child,
Yeah.
basically. But I loved it. I loved to sing, and I've sang ever since. And I was known primarily, Ryan, as a chorus director.
Okay.
And so, but then it to me, it always I had to work hard to do it. There were way greater singers than me, trust me. And I always felt I was not as sufficient as a lot of folk
Hmm.
that could really just naturally. I had to learn voice. I had to learn
Okay.
control, and so it was always a challenge for me with my falsetto and
Hmm.
all that stuff. But I learned to do it,
There you go.
and so it blesses my ministry as well. It's just something
Definitely.
about that too when you preach and sing. It's just another level. There again, it's that in the pulpit thing. You
Hmm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but I love it. I still love to sing. I love backgrounding now more than anything. If
I
I
hear
could
you.
sing with a group, I'd be cold.
Oh, quartet style.
Oh, you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So,
Musically, man.
yeah.
Outside of of course, church, man. Who are your favorite artists you listen to? Because I know you listen to old school. I know you got diverse.
Yeah.
But who were some of your favorite groups growing up,
Oh
musically,
man,
outside of the church?
everybody would most people say Temptations during my time.
Mm-hmm.
Mine was the Dramatics,
Okay.
the Shylights,
I know the Charlottes.
um, Blue Magic,
Uh huh.
Tim Prees.
Man,
You know,
you
ask your
about to make me
dad. He
go.
gonna
You
name
about to
some.
make me go to Daddy's storage and pull out the old
You
records,
hear me?
man.
Oh my goodness, those guys, Russell Tompkins Jr. and the Stylistics. Man, you talking about? We called them crooners,
Yeah.
and that was R&B and that was R&B back then.
Mm-hmm.
But those guys could croon.
Yeah.
You're not gonna find voices like that hardly anymore. Until
That's true.
Luther Vandross came along, I
Yeah.
listened to Lou Rawls, and I like the blues and jazz. So that's my music.
Love it, man. Love it.
I
Yes,
like
sir.
a little hip hop too every now and then.
Yes, sir. Got to diversify that musical portfolio. Yes,
Boy,
sir.
you better ask somebody. I
Yeah.
just don't see me when I'm beating in the car. So I have to travel, and that get me down the road.
There you go.
So
There you go.
yeah,
Love
yeah,
it, man. Love it. Love it.
indeed.
Love it, man. And those kind of things, man, just help us as ministers and preachers, man. When you look at ministry, we know it's no secret, man. It can be a lonely place.
Right.
This whole medium, this whole platform, this podcast is really about not only giving insight into the positive side of our humanity, because obviously when you talk about the humanity of a minister, of a pastor, it normally comes with a negative connotation, right? And so,
Right.
um, we want to improve their relationship. Like as we said earlier, we want people to know, like, hey, yes, I know you see me at my prime, you see me at my peak on Sundays and Wednesdays, and we definitely do our best to perform for God. Let me say that.
Right.
It is a show, but it's primarily a show for God, and underneath honoring God, we do our best to edify the people. However,
Absolutely.
we do want to improve that relationship, and that's what this is all about. And so there may be, as we wrap this thing up, there may be a fellow minister who's watching. There may be a member of the body tuning in. There may be someone unchurched who's watching, who just needs help in the journey. What are some final words that you can give to us just to help us improve that relationship, just help us in our daily walk?
I think one thing, just as you mentioned, there's a versatility of people who will be watching this podcast, and people that may, you know how people stop by and just to look to see what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Your friends will watch it, your ministry associates. But all in all, just know that, we're real people, man.
Yeah.
But what we have, number one, is purpose
Mm-hmm.
in what we do. I believe we've been called to do what we do. We are moved by the Holy Spirit. Um, John Maxwell said that you will know when you enjoy what you're doing
Hmm.
based on your passion for it.
There you go.
And then he said, passion takes the labor out of it.
Mm.
It takes the work out of it.
That's good.
It's what I do, man. And I don't mind getting up. I didn't, and I don't. If it has to do with ministry, I don't mind getting up, getting after it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why to have the right team around you, that has the same or not same passion, but have a passion
There you go.
for the work and the kingdom in that congregation. They're sincere and serious. Um, and so I just encourage you, young and old, stay to the task, do the work of an evangelist,
Mm-hmm.
make full proof of your ministry. That's encompassing, it's holistic, and enjoy. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, quit cheating God's people,
Mm.
quit cheating the kingdom,
Mm-hmm.
because that's what you're doing. You have other motives, and go do that, go do other stuff, but you don't want to have an alternative motive in ministry.
Right.
And so, yeah, I could say more, but I think I said enough.
Man, bless you, Unc. Bless you, Minister Chrisman. We appreciate you so much just for being a part of this, man.
Yeah,
When you have your skeleton and your structure, but I believe when we put forth the effort in faith, God always has the increase, man. And so, just the insight and knowledge that the history, man, that you
yeah,
provided to us from just some great ministers who've gone on before us, man. It gives us greater insight into you. It helps us know that, man, we're not by ourselves in this thing. It's a team thing, man.
right.
Nevertheless, man, that concludes this particular episode, man. What are your
Oh
socials,
yeah.
man? This is a digital world. How can we find you? If we're trying to contact you, man, how can we find you?
I'm mostly on social media. My Facebook page is where I really try to encourage people through some spoken word, stuff, giving encouragement, thought provoking quotes, phrases. Most of them just pop in my mind throughout the day.
Yeah.
You can find me at Amziah Christman on Facebook. I am Amziah on Instagram.
There you
You
go.
know,
I only have
and
Instagram, and you got it. See there?
huh?
I ain't got Instagram, and you got it.
Yeah, I'm on IG, man. That's kind of my just be me page, and so it's a private page. I might not let all y'all on there,
There you go.
but
Mhm.
take a shot.
Okay.
It's okay.
Bless you.
And yeah, you can catch me on definitely on Facebook.
Nice.
I
Nice.
don't reach out.
Awesome. Awesome.
I love to share.
Awesome, man. Again, we appreciate you. God bless you. This concludes this episode. Remember, as always, like it, subscribe it. If this blessed you in any way, go ahead and share it so somebody else can be blessed by what took place tonight. Again, as always, we broadcast every Thursday night at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Until next week, we'll see you. Peace. God bless. Appreciate you, Aunt.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I really enjoyed it.